I would like to say this before starting this review. I was born in October of 1999, and this movie came out in the summer of 1999. So I was not alive when the movie was released. So I do not have a large connection with the movie, but I'm a big horror fan, and I'm a big found footage fan.
Tell me where you are, John!
Released in 1999, we are talking the classic horror film, The Blair Witch Project. Now, this is one of those horror films, a lot of you did request this movie for this Halloween special, and for the past couple years, a lot of you have requested it. And what's funny is, I have had it on my list many times. Last year, it was between this or Paranormal Activity, and I was like, you know what? I have a very big soft spot for Paranormal Activity, so I decided to do that one last year. So now, let's talk this movie. So, I know a lot of you who are watching this video might be older than me and might have been alive in 1999. I just gotta explain this a little bit if you don't know this. In 1999, this movie came out and just scared everybody. People were like, is this thing real? The history of the marketing and the advertising for this movie honestly is more famous and better than the movie itself. Now, I'm not saying anything about the movie yet. We'll get to it. But, I gotta explain, how big this movie was in 1999. So, basically, this movie is found footage style, and these people were in the woods, and by the end of this movie, spoilers, it doesn't end well for them. So, when people went and saw this movie, they were like, so what happened to those people? Because the movie treats it as it's real, and there was a website in 1999 that was created before the movie came out, and they basically put up wanted signs for people, and they were like, these people are still missing. Their IMDb credits were nowhere to be seen because these three people were missing. People who saw this movie were like, oh my god, we are seeing literal people go into the woods and never be seen again, and now we're seeing it at a movie theater, and honestly, I wish I could be alive during this time frame in 1999 to see this movie in a theater and to experience the craze, especially if the internet was as big as it is today back then. First things first, it wouldn't happen because people would figure that shit is fake so quick. But the way this movie is just watching it today and imagining in 1999, I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine how crazy it was for people back then, especially for horror fans, because in 1999, this was after Scream. So Scream basically made every horror movie not scary. I know some people find it scary, but Scream was more comedic. They did Urban Legend, I Know What You Did Last Summer. They were very much teen horror movies, you could say. This movie was different. And I know found footage is not a new thing for today's society, but in 1999, there wasn't many. Obviously, there was Cannibal Holocaust, which I'll never review. But this movie came out of nowhere and just exploded. And watching it today on Blu-ray, all I can say this, as a horror fan, as a big fan of found footage, I think it is one of the most scariest subgenres in the horror genre. This movie is very much appreciative by me, and I appreciate watching it. And I watched it tonight with the lights off. Greatest setting to watch this movie in, by the way. I will say, this isn't a movie I will rewatch a lot. And again, it's just stuff more of I'm not a fan of how grungy it looks. I know a lot of people said some shit about my 28 Days Later review. Listen, we've gone over this. But for this movie, for found footage, obviously shooting it in that 16mm look, it really does work for this movie. I appreciate that. I just don't love the journey as much. Obviously, it's three people for an hour and 20 minutes, mostly in the woods, screaming at each other, walking around, woods, camera moving, and there's a lot of movement, and I have motion sickness, so there's a couple scenes in this movie I'm like, okay. And my favorite scene in the whole movie, to me, the scariest scene in this entire movie is the ending when they go in this house. This house is fucking iconic. It is absolutely creepy. The sound design, the sound mixing in this movie is absolutely terrifying. The scene before the house, or it's the night before where our two characters are alone, the third guy is already gone, and you hear his screams. one of the scariest scenes in the movie, in my opinion. No one ever talks about that. Obviously, the scene people talk about the most is obviously the scene where the woman's apologizing to this camera.
I am so sorry for everything that has happened.
And it's been memed very much. Obviously, the biggest one with Scary Movie, making fun of it. And I get it. I understand how it's made fun of. But the actual context of this scene is absolutely dreadful and terrifying. And the history behind this movie, these three actors, they basically improv'd 90% of this movie. The crew literally sent them drops and notes, and they couldn't share it with the other actors. And they said, hey, for today's shoot, you need to get to here, you need to express this, you need to do some type of dialogue with this scenario, and this is what needs to happen today. And the scenes at nighttime when they're in the tent, all the noises you're hearing and them being freaked out, yeah, that's actually the crew fucking with them. I could not imagine making this movie and being an actor on this set. I would be terrified. I mean, I'm not the biggest guy to go camping, but like, I love me some good woods. I live in South Carolina, but this movie, I couldn't imagine filming this movie. And apparently shot this movie in 8 days, which is insane to me. I shot my short film in 14 days. Mine's not even an hour long. That's insane to me. So watching this movie, just appreciating how they made this movie, these actors, they killed it. I mean, they did an amazing job. You watch this movie, you're like, these people aren't acting. These people are dead. They're not here anymore. They are still out in these woods. Well, I can confirm they are alive. Last year in 2024, I went to Spooky Empire in Florida, and the cast was actually there for this convention. So I got to see them, did not meet them. I did not have extra money, and I'm not like a biggest fan of Blair Witch Project, but like I did see them. I was like, oh, there they are. They are alive. I can fully tell you that. I saw their faces. They are alive. But just this whole movie is creepy. It's unsettling. I do think the best part about this movie, besides the performances and just the grungy feel, is the sound design. I already mentioned the one part with the guy screaming. I think, like I said, this ending, I'm not going to say it right now, but in recent memory, this ending is fucking terrifying. Again, I think found footage really does bring in more like realism. It makes you feel like you are really there. This house and the setting and the basement and that final 10 seconds, the final shot of him being in the corner, it's just unsettling. Her screaming, the film graining out and then going to the credits. It's just unsettling. It's terrifying, honestly. After this long journey to be in like this dreadful house, I give it up to the production team. This house is so fucking creepy. I'm going to keep repeating that, honestly. And I think this ending is scary. And I know there is like, was it 4 or 3 alternate endings? I like the original ending. I like the one we get in this movie. I know there's the one with like him turned around, like him in the air. I know there's like him being hung in one part. Him being hung would be my second favorite. But I think just the audacity to like not show the Blair Witch, I love that. And then like him in the corner, you don't know if he's dead, he's just standing there, and then she screams, the camera falls, and she's dragged away. It's just like, it really does work for this movie did. So the entire runtime, to be in this woods, to connect with these people, to hear their arguments over and over again, by the end of this movie, it is dreadful. And I appreciate this movie. It is not my personal favorite found footage movie, but this is the king of them all. Like, when you think of horror found footage movies, this is probably the one you think of. Me growing up, it is Paranormal Activity, but you gotta give the respect to this. Without this movie, there wouldn't be no Paranormal Activity. There wouldn't be a lot of found footage movies that could go this far. And this movie came out in 1999 and scared the hell out of everybody. So I appreciate it. It's not my favorite, but just because of like the pace of the movie, them being in the woods, arguing over and over and over, the map scene alone. I'm like, oh my gosh, the yelling and the audio is just, it's kind of annoying, but like, it's supposed to be real, and that's how it is. It looks real, it sounds real, they're getting the point across. So I appreciate how this movie, it is a classic, not my favorite classic, but you should watch it. I'm going to give The Blair Witch Project a B+. Again, that grade might seem low, but that's just my honest opinion. I'm calling this movie, though, a classic. It is a classic movie. It's a classic horror movie. It's awesome. It deserves all the credit. It's just not my personal favorite. It's not the one I revisit. But I will fucking say this. Watch this movie this month in Halloween. If you're watching this movie review, watch this movie at night with the lights off with no one home. Fucking creepy. I will tell you that right away. This movie's fucking creepy. I'm in here in my room with this one light on. As soon as I'm done recording, I'm turning on every fucking light in my house because, oh my gosh, walking in my room, creeped out. Could not look at any of my dark windows. That's because the movie did a good job creeping me out. So, good job, movie. Anyway, guys enjoy this movie review. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.